everybody, and welcome to my first episodic review of Disventure Camp Season 4 Carnival of Chaos. My name is Silly Billy, but you can call me Billy. Yes, we're back at episode 1. I have more things to say. But first, a little bit about myself. This little duck boy right here is proud to be voicing Trevor yet again. And I, for one, am really happy to see him back in this hosting role again. That being said, that does mean we run into the same issue as Season 1 again, where I cannot do an honest blind reaction because, shockingly, voicing the guy who reads out which bozo takes the L each episode hinders you in that goal of making blind reactions. Who'd have thunk? As has come to be tradition at this point, we are switching up the format of how we are covering Disventure Camp on this channel once again. I might still do blind reactions on the episodes. I'm actually not quite sure on this one yet. And frankly, my busy school schedule is going to play a major deciding factor whether or not I have time or energy for those. But this season around, I have some very fun ideas for how to give my takes on this show. For starters, this season I'll be doing more analytical reviews per episode. That way we can dive into the episodes more thoroughly as they come out, and I don't need to write another 90-page bum about why All Stars is the way it is. That's still not here, by the way. Be on the lookout for that. It's coming. But before we can really dive into an episode, get us all on the same page, you know, I feel like we need to take a look back at the highlights of each episode. And I know just how to do so. We're back again. We're back again. Come on! Time for Disventure Camp. Trevor, Derek, Emily too. 18 new contestants waiting for you. The wait has been long, but we're starting off strong. So let me just recap it all in a song. Still wacky fun fair, lots of cool attractions and a lot of dust. 2 new teams go there. Introduce us Ellie's, but who can you trust? Who can you trust? Who can you trust? We're back again. Time for Disventure Camp. We need to build a shelter, but let's get to it first. Unless you'll squish the snail, and now they think he's the worst. Diego, Spencer, Marissa, Anastasia, love's clearly in the air. Also, Benji was on fire, but they didn't really care.
Wait, what?
Say Ivy and Tristan made new friends, and they won the challenge with their odds and ends. None of it was thanks to Amelie, who just moped and complained in French.
Wait.
Second challenge, they took a ride in the coaster. Special showed up being the biggest boaster. But he was put in his place, Jake clutching the race, as Ted got Diego's lunch in his face. Jade and Spencer formed the bond, it wasn't rocket science. Meanwhile, Linda and Natasha made a girls' alliance. A final twist was played for Isabel and Jade. What it is, don't know, cause we'll just have to wait. The nun signing us off with a smirk and a man. I'm curious to see what she has planned. We're a long ways away from the bitter end. Who will win, don't know, but one thing's for sure. We're back again. See, I don't know if Trevor gets his solo in Season 4 again, but frankly, I do not care. I'll just do it for him. So, Episode 1 of Disventure Camp introduces an all-new cast, and so in this review, I wanted to give my first impressions on all of the 18 characters. I'll give you my thoughts on all the characters as of yet, as well as my predictions for what their main storyline could look like. There's some 1 or 2 characters I already know of that they will be eliminated, so for those, I'll just give my story predictions as if I don't know this. Basically, 90% of what I say in this video is my honest reaction, and the other 10% is wishful thinking. Feel free to visit back in a few episodes to see if you spotted which is which. Also, no, I have not seen the audition tapes, and I don't really intend on doing so, not just to keep spoiler-free for what the potential storylines might be, but also because I have this particular nitpick that any information that you want your viewers to know about your characters should be presented within the show itself. I shouldn't have to do research on your character to follow your logic. Whether you agree with that take or not, I'll leave up to you, but know that there might be some information about certain characters that I simply won't know yet. See it as a fun surprise for later down the road, or so that you can already start shouting at me in the comments. Starting with Alessio, because he's the first alphabetically, and also because I like him a lot. He is very, very weird, and brings a new energy to the show that we haven't really seen yet. I'm curious if and how his painting skills will come back in the challenges. I'm surprised he didn't throw a hissy fit trying to design the perfect shelter in episode 1, but then again, it feels like this character's more going to be on his own little adventures. I feel like he might have some scary girl type interactions in the future, where we see all the normal contestants struggling with a challenge, only for Alessio to clear them with ease or do everything in the unorthodox way. Next up is Anastasia, whose interactions with Marissa I like, but who I feel needs a little more time in the spotlight before I can fully pinpoint my thoughts on her. It looks like she'll play a strategic game, which leads me to believe that the Girls Alliance on this team will be a success. Until later down the line, where she and Marissa will be split against Isabel and Natalia, with Linda in the middle as the swing vote. I think we've seen quite a few strategic characters in the game yet, and so far I'm waiting on the angle that makes Anastasia stand out from the others. Isabel might be my new favorite character of the cast. Such an incredibly fun idea for a character. She's a nun, but without any of the stereotypes you would associate with that concept. I like this character specifically being the TikTok player out of all of them, and contrary to what I've seen online, I think her being a villainous character would be a fantastic direction to take this character in. Because from what we've seen so far, it looks like they're not chasing down the religious theming too much, so I don't think her being a villainous character will necessarily be paired with the religion evil. In fact, I don't think this character would be outright evil, but more so a strategical antagonist in the sense that Ellie or even Miriam could be. On top of that, this character gives such energetic vibes. I'm really liking her so far, and I for one hope that she'll make it very, very far into this game. Logan! Who? Logan is so far just Wayne, but ginger. I like him. He's fun. Not much more to say on him so far. I wonder what they have planned for him. It looks like he'll be paired with Richard, but beyond that, I think this character can go in all sorts of directions. I'll definitely need another episode or two to fully know what this character will bring. But for now, I am liking what we've gotten. Linda is another fantastic new addition to this cast and is another character I hope will make it very, very far. Linda feels more like a traditional villain, and I am very excited for her to bring the drama. Her first real scene immediately shows her making a gender-based alliance. This tells me enough about this character. I think Linda will be a fierce hothead who needs to come out on top, and the ensuing character dynamics with the more typical heroic characters will be so fun to witness. Although I think a fun twist this season would be to have like a mafia-style shootout where two groups of antagonists face each other down. If my thoughts on Anastasia and Isabel turn out to be correct, I could see this be the case once it becomes time for the Girls Alliance to turn on itself, and I think Linda could be a great catalyst for all of this. Very excited to see more of her. Marissa is so far your typical female girl boss character, which is fine, but doesn't tell me a whole lot about them just yet. We've seen a few Marissa-like characters on this channel by now. I think Topaz from Reality Resort is the closest match in terms of personality, but a character like Sakura from Danganronpa also springs to mind. I hope that this character gets to be more than just a kind-hearted, strong leader figure, and that her character will be spun into an interesting direction. For now, she's fine. I like her interactions with Anastasia, and the two make for a fun pairing. Natalia! Oh? She called Emily mother. That was funny. What do you want from me? Natalia barely had a role in this story so far. Based on what we got, I'd say she's going to interact more with Linda and Isabel and set up that Girls Alliance soon. But beyond that, I have a hard time visualizing what this character will bring other than funny youth slang, which admittedly is pretty fun to listen to. So, since I'm never going to predict this character's future right, let's just do a wild and outlandish prediction. Natalia is secretly a transformer. Yep, at night she turns into a car robot hybrid and she Natalia's all over the place. Then in the morning she doesn't remember anything. Oh, and also it's only during a full moon. It's a werewolf transformer. Yep, that's it. I swear to God, if this prediction pans out true, you have to subscribe. I'm sorry, but at that point, I've earned it. Also, I feel like Jared and Robert might fire me at that point because they'll 100% think I just read the script and pretend to not know what was going on. To be fair, I'd probably start thinking that too. Richard! Oh? Dad-like coach figure, Connor-esque, but without the unnecessary love drama. So far, I like him, but just like with Logan, I'm curious what this story might bring. Considering his age, I think they might pair him up nicely with Linda, but I'm not sure what his role in this story will be so far. My guess is that he's like the funny voice of reason in his team, which could lead to an early elimination if the Girls Alliance is successful. Also, are him and Logan actually related? You will probably know, I just have to wait and see. Ted is one of the most fun characters on this entire show. He's like the non-problematic version of you, and I can tell I'll love every second of this man. He's conniving and cheeky, but at the same time a big, goofy dum-dum, and I'm curious to see where that will take him. One slight feeling I have is that he might be faking his dum-dum stuff to the others, to seem like he's less of a threat, only for him to backstab them later. Sort of like an adult version of Fiore. But I hope if this is indeed the case that we get a confessional here and there where Ted shares his actual plans and thoughts to the camera. But if he is just going to be a big dum-dum who thinks he can outwit all the others, I'm still gonna love him regardless. Moving on to the red team, kicking us off with Amelie. Ho ho ho, j'adore Amelie. She is like a French Carol minus the animal lover part, and I really like this character so far. If only to fully abuse the fact that I can do a silly French accent whenever she is on screen. And I will do a silly French voice whenever she is on screen. Je m'excuse auprès de mes amis français. J'abuserai de cette nouvelle capacité. Essayez de m'arrêter. Essayez. Anyway, she's fun. Benji. Oh. I hope to God Benji is not just going to be the guy who makes accidental innuendos, because we only just have one and I'm already tired of it. Well, I think an innuendo here and there can be funny, but the one we got was really not that. You're telling me this guy talks about giving good head and not realize what he's about to say? I mean, who even says that in response to having a good head? It is so forced. I'm also not quite sure what role Benji's going to fill that Spencer isn't going to fill for him. I feel like he might get closer to Hannah, but that's really about it so far. I called Diego Tom in my episode 1 blind reaction, and I saw that some people got upset with me for doing so. So to all those people, I sincerely apologize. From now on, I'll make sure to call him Tom James. Kidding. Some of you guys are so easily triggered. It is so funny. In that sense, Diego does seem to be like the new Tom, because people will already roast you on the spot for saying something less than perfect about him and Spencer. In reality, Diego is pretty fun, and I do still think that the parallels between Diego and Tom are quickly drawn. Not just because they're both a little silly and macho, but also because it looks like Diego will fill a similar role to Tom in this season. I'm not too massively wooed by him just yet, but give it 1 or 2 more episodes and I think this character will grow on me. Hannah! Who? No, but actually, who? Out of all the who characters, Hannah is the most who of them all. So far, all I'm getting from Hannah is fun. That's it. She seems to be energetic, a team player, excited to be here, and yeah, that's about it. We'll make season predictions about this character in the next episode because I genuinely don't have a lot to say about her just now. Ivy, I do have a lot of stuff to say about. So far, I love this character. I've seen the term Nepo baby be tossed around a bit here and there, and I don't really get why. Yes, in the technical sense of the term, she is a character whose parents are successful, which might have improved her chance to get up the show, but it is spun in such an unnecessary negative connotation. Like, chill, just because her parents are famous does not disqualify her as a character immediately. I adore Ivy for a few reasons, the biggest one being her friendship with Zayd and Tristan. Spoilers for when we get to them in a second, but I just love these three, and I don't really know why, as we've barely seen anything of them. I just really like the friendship. I also really like Ivy's quips at a certain character that must not be named, going on about how she'll win the right way. But right here is where I'm going to drop my biggest prediction for this season. I think Ivy's going to be the new Rhea. Dang it, I said her name anyway. No, I don't think Ivy's gonna try to kill people in a brutal way, then pull a sad smiley face and face no consequences as a result of it. I feel like Ivy will come into the show as a character with good intentions, but she'll fall into the same pitfall as Rhea does over time. I think Ivy's going to lose Zayd or Tristan, or potentially even both, pretty early on into the season, and she'll become mad about it. So mad, in fact, that she starts to take her revenge. First by doing little actions, but as those turn out to not be enough to best many of the tactical and villainous characters this season has to offer, she starts to become more creative and especially more villainous herself. I think Ivy's arc this season is showing how good intentions and a strong feeling of justification can still lead you down a dark path. And I think this story will paint the image of a heroic character who slowly starts to do villainous things until she becomes a full-on villain doing heroic things from time to time. Sort of like Walter White, if you will, minus the blue happy rocks. I hope to be right on this one because that sounds like a super fun arc for this character. Ivy in her 1 episode of screen time has already shown more inner thoughts than Rhea did in the entirety of her 2-season arc. So I feel that if they keep this pace up, Ivy will be able to tell the story that Rhea was never able to convince me of. Or Ivy just stays a happy little bean for the entire season. Who knows? Jade feels like a pretty generic character so far. She's smart, she strategizes, she looks for the idol while others are doing happy things, and I feel like she and Spencer will make it rather far together until one of them ultimately betrays the other. From that one time I interviewed Jared and Robert on the channel, I remember them being very excited over a character with vitiligo, and purely on that fact alone, I feel like we can pretty confidently call Jade a merger. I hope Jade gets more of her own spin. Right now, she just feels like Sister Sage from The Boys, but without any of the fun egotisms of pretending like everything was part of her plan from the start. I hope to love Jade in the future, but right now, she's probably the most underwhelming character of this cast, and I feel like the show will want me to desperately think that I am wrong on this opinion. Spencer is fun. If Diego is Tom, then that would make Spencer the Jake of this season, but so far he is completely not that, and it looks like Spencer will get to do a lot more fun stuff than just be the emotionally vulnerable main MLM protagonist. In fact, all fancy Spency Poopa here seems to be an outright villainous character, or at least a morally gray one, and I like this as a concept. It reminds me of early season 2 James, but with a more sneaky presence that is less present. I'm very excited to see how Spencer's role in this story will pan out, as it can quite a number of ways. If I had to guess right now, I'd say Spencer will try to run the game with Jade from the shadows until his feelings for Diego get in the way in some form, at which point he'll refuse to work with Jade and she will eliminate him in turn for not being useful to him anymore. But so far, Spencer has surprised me, and I hope that he keeps doing this. Tristan is such a fun character, just a really cute and bubbly spoopy, and I hope to see them reach it very far into the show. I like how they explained their submission to Emily when they came to judge the team cabins. A very fun way of writing dialogue that left me wanting more. Between them and Zayd, I think Zayd is the more likely candidate to go out first, but I'd be so heartbroken if Tristan turns out to be an early merge boot. I can hardly imagine this being the case though. Although I do wonder how a character like Tristan is going to fare with all the strategic voting that seems to be going down soon with this cast. But hey, they have a 3-man alliance from the get-go, so that's at least a leg up on the rest. And finally, we have Zayd. Again, don't really know why I love these people so much, but I do. I wonder if and how his baking will come to play a role in this game. Out of their friend group, Zayd is easily the least explored so far and currently the most expendable, but I wonder if a potential romance with Ivy might shake things up a few episodes down the line. All in all, I really like the start of this season, and I cannot wait for episode 2. My top 3 characters right now, in no particular order, are probably Isabel, Ted, and Tristan, with an honorable mention to Ivy, who would be really cool if my prediction about her is true. I guess the same is true for Werewolf Transformer Natalia, but the Ivy one seems to be a little more plausible. But what do you think? Let me know your current favorite and least favorite characters in the comments. I want to give a little shout out to the silliest Billy members. Thank you to Star Wars Timpan, Noah Loves DCCOC, Creeper, XOX, and the name is Tubby for your continuous support on the Silly Billy channel. If you want to become a member yourself, check out the button right next to my name for early video access, shoutouts, member badges, emotes, and a happy little duck. Or if you just want that final bit, consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any future reviews, recaps, and reactions. For now though, I want to thank you for watching. This has been Silly Billy, and remember, Natalia is a secret werewolf transformer, and Ivy is Walter White. Howdy!